So it's new bike day, guys. Today we're going to be taking a first look at and reviewing the F2 from GoTrax. So this is actually a folding electric bike, and I really love folding bikes and I love electric bikes. It's really cool when they combine them. There's a lot of benefits to folding bikes and electric bikes. So we're going to be talking about this bike fully in detail. A big thank you to GoTrax for sending this bike over to us to review and for sponsoring today's video. This is also going to be the first video that I'm filming at our new home here in the US in Michigan. So I'm pretty excited to show you guys some of the local rides. We're going to be taking this bike out for a test ride in our new town. So I'll be showing you guys some of the local roads. So stay tuned for the end of the video where we do the test ride. So one of the first standout features on this bike is its price. It normally sells for about $1,000 to $900, somewhere in that range. Sometimes it's on sale, and you get a lot for that price range. It's rare to get a folding bike for under $1,000, let alone an electric one. And there's a lot of cool features on this bike. One of the first things, if you're new to folding bikes, is going to be the smaller wheel size. We've got some 20-inch wheels on here with 3-inch tires. And one of the nice things I like about this bike so far is that these tires are wide, but they're not too wide. There's a lot of craze now with all the e-bikes being fat tire e-bikes, and I think that's just a little overkill. It weighs the bikes down and it's a lot more cushion than what you need. So that's one of the nice things about this bike also, is that it is more lightweight than other e-bikes I've tested. This one only weighs about 50 pounds, so it's pretty easy to carry. And it being a folding bike, that's the whole point of it. You want to be able to fold it down and you can bring it wherever in any of your cars or whatever. So you'll notice right here in the middle of the frame, that's where it folds down. So I'll show you guys that in just a little bit. And another cool thing, it comes with these stock pedals that also fold down. So you just gotta push in on them. It's a little hard to do one-handed, and they just fold down like that. So it just makes it easier to transport the bike. These ones are made of plastic though, so we'll see how durable they are when we do our test ride. Another nice feature that you get on this bike is you get a full fender set. So we got the fenders up here in the front, and we've also got the fenders in the rear, as well as this rear rack here. So you can easily strap on some kind of basket if you want to use this as a shopping bike or anything like that. This bike also does come wired with some different lights. So we got this light here on the rear, and we've also got the front light, which both go on. They're connected directly to the battery, so you don't need to charge any of those, which is really nice. I really hate having to charge my lights separately. It's really nice having that just connected to the main battery. Speaking of the battery, I'll list all the specs here for the battery of the bike as well as the motor. The battery is actually going to be stored right here in this part of the frame, so you can remove it by folding the frame open and then pulling it out. It does come with a key and lock down here. This is both a pro and a con. You do need to turn the key to be able to activate the battery, but that's also a nice kind of security feature, because that way you can make sure that no one turns on the e-bike or tries to steal it when you park it somewhere. But you do got to remember that you got that key down there. As for the gears, it looks like we got a decent sized chainring up here in the front with some guiders on both sides to help keep that chain in line. And on the rear, we've got a Shimano 7-speed cassette and a tourney rear derailleur. The assembly on this bike was also really easy. That's another benefit of folding bikes, is they pretty much come folded, ready to go in the box. The only thing that I needed to do on this bike was get the front wheel attached and also the front fender. This bike also did come with a couple other accessories. So we've got some bike mirrors if you want to put those on the handlebars. I'm going to leave mine off for now. It also comes with a pretty heavy duty folding lock, which is really exciting to see because these can be pretty expensive by themselves. And this fits in the rear saddlebag, which was also included in the bike. And it also has a built-in clamp here on the rear of the saddle. So it just slides in and straps on. I did notice that this strap was a little bit long actually, so I just had to wrap it around twice, and it's pretty nice and solid and tight now. This thing opens up, you can put the folding lock in there or whatever you want to put in there. So that's the other nice thing with this bike, is just the value of the extra accessories that you get. It also came with this cool little bag with all the tools that it came with, so you can keep them organized if you want to use them later. And we've also got the extra spare key and the user manual, but this shows everything that's included and step-by-step instructions on how to put everything together. But like I said, this one is really straightforward, one of the easiest bikes that you'll assemble because everything's pretty much ready to go already. The stock saddle does look pretty wide and very cushiony, so we'll see how that performs on the ride. The bike also does come with this little kickstand here, which looks like it does the job. Nothing too big, but holds the bike up nice and upright. We've got our quick access for the battery charger here. So if you don't want to remove the battery from the bike every time, you can just open this up and you can charge it directly when you bring the bike inside your house. And as for the cables, looks like everything is routed nice and clean here underneath the bike. This piece here, by the way, is for when the bike is folded down. It helps keep it upright and something to balance on when you got it folded down. Another positive feature on this bike is we've got some hydraulic disc brakes, which usually on the lower price range e-bikes, you're stuck with mechanical disc brakes. So it's nice to see that you got some hydraulic ones on this. So really overall, it's a really great value for this bike. The retail price is usually between $900 to $1,000. And if you use my affiliate link, you can get an extra $50 off the price. I think you can get it for $850 right now. That might change in the future. So check out the link down below if you're interested. All right, and here's what the front of the bike looks like. We've got all of our wires routed together and held together nicely. This is what the grips look like. We've got our adjuster here so we can turn the computer on. We got to press and hold that button. The computer will activate. Got a nice color display here, which is cool to see. And with these plus buttons, we can change the power assist. So this one goes through power assist 1 through 5. And I think this bike has a max speed of about 20 miles an hour. We're going to test it later on in the ride, and a range of about 50 miles. That's what they say on paper anyway. You've also got pedal assist 0 if you just want to ride it by yourself. And we literally have not ridden this bike yet, so the odometer is currently on 0 miles. Another accessory this bike came with was this phone holder here, which is really cool because when we do our ride test, I'll put my phone up there so we can compare the speeds with each other. So another nice freebie with this bike. And here's our Shimano 7-speed shifter. So you press here to go up, and then you push this to go back. And with the motor assist, you have two different options. One of them is you just use the throttle here, and the other option is the assist mode, which will automatically detect when you're pedaling and assist you with that. And we've got our brake levers here for the nut hydraulic brakes. All right, and one last thing before we start our test ride, I'm gonna show you guys how to fold this bike down. And one other adjustment you can make is with the stem here. So if you like a higher handlebar setup, you can raise it and tighten this down. Or if you like me, you like it slam it as low as possible, you can lock it in position and put it that way. And so folding this down, first thing we gotta do is fold the handlebars down. So we got a lever and a lock here. You just unloosen the lock, pull the lever down, and this will fold right down. So make sure the wheel's straight so that can fold off to the side. And then the same thing here in the middle. We've got a lock in the lever. So we open that up and this will fold like this. So here we go. This is what the bike looks like folded down. A way smaller profile. This should be able to fit in most cars. And that's the main advantage of the folding bike is you can fold it down really small and bring it pretty much anywhere. This bike also not too heavy. It still is about 50 pounds, so I wouldn't want to carry this long distances, but for things like just lifting it up into the car, no problem. All right, and opening it up. Close that, make sure it's locked. Raise this up, close that, make sure it's locked. That's it, just 2 steps. The bike's ready to go. All right, guys, we're starting our ride test on the GoTrax F2. And currently I'm using pedal assist 0. So this bike is actually light enough that it doesn't feel too bad riding it like a normal bike. If it's flat, it's not too bad, but this is an e-bike, so we want to test out what this thing can do. Let's switch it on to pedal assist 1. And actually, I didn't notice too much of an assist there, so I'm just gonna go straight up to 2. There we go, that was a considerable kick. So I've got the main computer here in miles per hour. It's saying we're currently going about 12 miles an hour. And I've got Strava loaded on the right here. So we got kilometers per hour, about 18 kilometers an hour there. Yeah, we're just gonna be rolling around some of my new local roads and testing this out. We got a little hill up here as well. So we're gonna test this out on the hills. We're gonna test it out on some gravel roads. But so far, the bike feels really solid. And these tires are feeling really good so far, the 3-inch tires. So not the super overkill like all the big fat tire e-bikes. We'll see how that performs though on the gravel though. But you'll notice if you've been watching our videos for a while, the roads here in Michigan are way different than the roads in Vietnam where we've been living the last 2 years. We got lots of cracks, lots of potholes. So definitely appreciate the bigger tires here. And we've actually got a little bit of a hill here, so this is where we're going to test the hill climbing performance on this e-bike. That's one of the best things about e-bikes. It makes these climbs go a lot easier. I'm only in pedal assist 2, and we're still holding the same speed as we were on the flats, but it's way easier on me. Let's try kicking it up to 3. Oh wow, yeah. This thing's pretty powerful despite its size. Unfortunately in Michigan we don't have too many very large hills. This is one of the largest hills we've got around where I live without going too far. I do notice it takes a sort of second to kick in if you're using just the assist mode. But once you start pedaling, it starts going. And yeah, only on assist level 3, and we're flying up this thing 14 miles an hour. So next, let's test the performance here on the dirt roads. That's one thing we do have a lot of here in Michigan, is a lot of gravel roads, a lot of dirt roads like this. And they're fairly smooth for the most part, but there can be a lot of bumps and sometimes larger rocks. But yeah, I'm feeling really comfortable on this bike. These tires are more than enough for this. Here we go, we got a rougher section though. Yeah, the tires are feeling really good. The suspension also kicking in. That's one thing I forgot to mention in the intro, is this bike does have a front suspension fork, and you can actually lock it out if you want. So it's nice to see with these smaller 20-inch wheels, this bike is still really smooth and comfortable on the gravel, dirt roads, and all the potholes and everything we've got. So on the downhill, just coasting, going 20 miles an hour, 23 miles an hour. That's pretty good. So next, let's try a little max speed test. The other nice thing here in Michigan is we got a bunch of lakes. Not many hills, but lots of lakes and lots of dirt roads. So we'll be doing a lot of gravel ride videos here pretty soon. So here we go, we're back on the flat section. Let's kick this back up to gear assist 3 and keep winding it up. Let's try and see if we can reach the top speed. So put it on to assist 4. Wow, that was a big jump. So we're currently going about 17 miles an hour. Let's pick it up to assist 5. I'm in my max gear, so gear 7, and I'm spinning out pretty easy. Looks like we're holding exactly 20 miles an hour on the bike's computer, 30 kilometers an hour on Strava, and I'm just gonna hold the throttle. Let's see if we hold the same speed. The throttle max speed, we're still holding 20 miles an hour. It's the same if I'm pedaling or if I'm using the throttle. I'm gonna try and sprint and go beyond it. Yeah, it's not really letting me, so it's got the limiter on the max speed there. But still, for just a general errand kind of bike, you don't really need to go much faster than that. So for the next test, we're just gonna do a quick little acceleration from a stop start, just with the throttle. So here we go. We're in assist level 5. That was really good. Wow, we got up to speed really quickly. And let's also do a quick test on the brakes. Yeah, these brakes are solid. We stopped really quick. The hydraulic brakes are really nice. We're going back up the hill again. And I will say, although this bike was pretty much ready to go outside the box, there was a small little brake rub on both the front and rear wheel. So I did have to do a small adjustment to get the brakes to stop rubbing. So that sometimes can be caused by just the shipping. We got a little dead end over here. Let's check this out. This area is all really new to me. We just moved here, so still figuring my way around and learning all the roads. It's actually funny because there's a lot more gravel roads here than paved roads, so that's one of the reasons I came over here, was because I was looking for some smooth roads to ride on. We had some rabbits over there. Unfortunately, it was a pretty quick dead end. But that's another big difference with here compared to Vietnam, where we were living, is just a lot more wildlife here and a lot different wildlife. In Vietnam, we always came across monkeys on our ride, and here we got rabbits, we got deer, and just a bunch of random stuff. I actually did see some foxes on my ride the other day. And yeah, this bike feels really stable, going in the downhills through all the turns. So since we don't have too many paved road options, we're gonna test this out a little bit more over here on the dirt roads. We got a lot more dirt roads over here, so I'll probably be using this more on the dirt roads. I actually got a deer right there. So yeah, speaking of the wildlife, it doesn't take too long to come across some. But yeah, I'm really glad that this bike is performing pretty well here on the dirt roads. It's really cool to see that despite the smaller wheel size, with the thicker tires, this is more than comfortable. And oh my God, this thing, I feel like it goes faster up the hills than it does on the flats. But yeah, it just makes it that much easier. And yeah, we just got endless roads like this around where I'm living now. Lots of dirt roads, lots of tree cover, and not too many houses. So it's a very nice place to go bike riding. Can relax in the nature and just escape from all the traffic and everything. One thing that's way different compared to Vietnam though is just all the house sizes, the property sizes. People back here, like some of the lots are just massive, and there's literal mansions back here, and some people like they have a whole farm. So it's a way different type of scenery, but I really like it. It's beautiful back here, and yeah, just peaceful, no cars. The main disadvantage though is I don't have too many grocery stores nearby where I live. We do have a few more options that are a little bit further away, and that's the nice thing about the e-bike is it's really great for things like commuting or just running errands, going bike shopping. And I'm noticing right now, I'm hearing on the fenders, so the roads are a little bit wet right now, so there's some dirt kicking up, and that's another nice thing about having a fender set, especially if you're riding gravel roads. It just helps keep your bike clean. And this is a white bike. I know white bikes like to get dirty pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm just cruising here in pedal assist 3 mode right now, averaging about 14 miles an hour, just not even really putting any power in the pedals. And it's a nice casual cruise. Let's put this on pedal assist 5 here on the dirt roads. Oh yeah, there we go. So the actual speed limit here is 45. We're not gonna be doing that. This bike definitely feels like it can go over 20 miles an hour. Maybe there's a way you can remove the limiter. This thing, it still feels like it's got speed to give. So maybe I can figure out how to remove that limiter size. Oh, that's pretty cool. They got a little cabin there. I'm guessing that's a bus stop. So in the winter here, it does get pretty cold. So waiting for the school bus out in the cold does really suck. So it looks like they built a little log cabin, bus stop kind of thing there. Speaking of cool things, they got a nice big red barn back there. And the other thing I noticed is if you have it in power level 5, you got to be careful with that acceleration. If you don't have both hands on that handlebar, when that thing goes, you're going to be kicked backwards a little bit. Yeah, this thing's got pretty beastly actually. I don't think it's quite as powerful as some of the larger e-bikes out there, but with the lower weight, the acceleration on this is really fast. Because some e-bikes now are about 100 pounds, this thing's about half that weight. The other cool thing back here is you see a lot of cyclists, a lot of them on gravel bikes. We're just flying up this hill now. Ugh, nasty back here. Really glad I got those fenders on. All right, so I'm gonna start wrapping up my first impressions of the bike. So some pros and some cons. As for the pros, one of the first big pro is the price point and value on this bike. I think this bike is a really good value for a sub $1,000 e-bike. You get a folding bike, you get an e-bike, and the quality is really good. It's nice and lightweight. I think a lot of people go overkill with the e-bikes now. A lot of them are really heavy. You really can't move them around. And this one, 50 pounds, it folds up, it gets in your car. It comes with a few extra accessories. It comes with a folding block, the rear view mirrors, and a couple other accessories, which with other bikes, you'd have to pay extra to get those. So yeah, I think this bike has some good value. And if you're interested in getting one for yourself, you can use my code to get an extra $50 off. The other pro with this bike is the transportability. With this being a folding bike, it folds down, it gets really small, so you can put it in any kind of car. Even if you have a small car, it's easy to move around. And also with storability, it doesn't take up that much space. You can still fold it down even inside your house if you live in an apartment or a place with not much space. It really has a small profile compared to other bikes. The other pro with this bike is it's somewhat adjustable. You can adjust the handlebar height here to be more upright or to be lower. So you do have some more flexibility there. Another pro is the disc brakes. You get some hydraulic disc brakes, which most e-bikes under $1,000, they're gonna come with mechanical disc brakes. So it's nice to see you get that upgrade here. All right, back on the nice paved roads now. So next, let's go into some of the cons, some of the negatives about this bike. So I mentioned before, this bike was pretty much ready to go outside the box, but unfortunately, there was a little bit of brake rub in both the front wheel and rear wheel. It wasn't that bad actually. It wasn't enough to affect the performance of the bike that much, but it was just enough that you hear it every time it rotates around, which was a little bit annoying. I don't think that happens with every bike, but it did happen with mine. One of the other disadvantages with this bike, at least for me, being a taller rider, at first I thought I could almost get a full extension with the seat post, but it turns out the seat post is just a little bit short for me. I'm more of an active cyclist, so I like to have a full, complete extension with my bikes. And you can probably fix that if you get a slightly longer seat post that you got to order separately. But for me, at least with the stock seat post, it was a little bit short. And it's not a big deal for shorter casual rides, but if I were to use this for more longer rides or for dedicated commuting, I would like to have it a little bit taller. Everything else though feels really solid. I think this is a really solid bike. All right, we're just finishing up the ride, and yeah, I think this bike performed pretty well. So the next question is, who is this e-bike for? I think this e-bike is great for beginners, people that are new getting into cycling who want to try an e-bike for the first time. So I don't think you can go wrong with this bike as a first entry-level kind of e-bike. I also think this bike is really good for commuters or for people who live in the city, just because of the size of it, the profile of it. It's really small, compact, easy to move around. And yeah, it's got the rear storage rack so you can carry some extra items on it. So I think it'd be really good for both commuting and also for city living. I was pretty surprised on the ride today though. This thing handles really well on the dirt roads. So we're gonna continue testing it out on some of the dirt roads here. I did not get a full range test on today's ride. So right now we've got about 10 miles, but you can see we've got still 4 bars here out of what looks like 5. So they say on their website that this thing should have a range of about 50 miles. And that looks like it's going to be pretty accurate. We were doing a lot of pedal assist level 5, so the battery's of course going to last longer if you're using more moderate kind of modes, if you use pedal assist 2. So I'll be continuing to test this bike and see how it does on the full range test in a future video. Anyway guys, that's going to conclude my first impressions and review of the GoTrax F2 bike. If you're interested in learning more about the bike, we got a link down below in the description and a code that you can use to get an extra $50 off. Again, a big thank you to GoTrax for sending this bike over for us to review. I'm excited to continue testing it out here in our new home here in Michigan in the US. And that's it for today's video, guys. We'll see you in the next one.